Hi, good afternoon, folks, and welcome to a special edition of An Hour with Bob. It's my off week, actually, but I come in here especially to help the Rhode Island Heritage Hall of Fame, which I am a proud member of and also on the board of directors. And I wanted to help a good friend of mine, Lawrence, or Larry, Reid is here with me. How you doing, Larry?
I'm fine, Bob. Thank you for having me.
And nice to have you here. Well,
Oh,
we're going to talk about...
my pleasure.
Yes, we're going to talk about the Rhode Island Heritage Hall of Fame banquet coming up, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, but first, a little history.
A little history.
Cleo's Trio, what is that all about?
Cleo's Trio. Cleo is the muse of history from the ancients. And
That sounds Greek to me.
it is Greek, and you know, being Greek, nobody understands it. It's all Greek to me.
Right.
But Cleo's Trio comprises three entities.
Well, I get that, the trio, yeah.
The first being the Rhode Island Heritage Harbor Foundation,
Right.
which is like the parent company, the financial backing, the financial wherewithal of these nonprofit entities.
Right.
The second is the Rhode Island Heritage Hall of Fame, which we'll talk about. And the third is the Rhode Island Publications Society. So all three of these are
Right.
interconnected, intertwined, and each performs certain functions, does certain things, supported by the others. So it's one big happy family or one big happy trio.
And that had a lot to do, or all to do, with Dr. Pat Conley.
Without Dr. Conley, it should be probably Cleo's quartet, and he should be in it as well, because without any doubt, Dr. Conley is the father of Rhode Island history.
Exactly.
And there's nothing involved with Rhode Island history, its people, its events, its biggest events than Dr. Conley. He's an amazing man, author, professor. He's done it all.
He sure has.
He's done it all.
How many books has he written?
I
Like
think
40?
he's up like
40?
34,
Oh,
35.
I think he's higher than that. I think he's like 46.
Well, there's one in the works right now. In
Yep.
fact, another one. So
Really?
it's an unending process.
And they're very good reading, too. They're very interesting. The
He-
stuff he
he's-
comes up with, and then the people
Oh.
he features in these different books.
He has the details. He has the flavor of what was going on at the time and where it impacts in U.S. history and so forth. That's why he's so in demand as a speaker. He did a program for the state's attorneys general a couple of years ago over
Right.
in Newport.
Yep.
And he put on a presentation where he was displaying, no, it wasn't the attorneys general, it was the speakers of the House for all 50 states.
Wow.
He put on a presentation that showed them all Rhode Island's contributions to what the federal government eventually became, the Bill of Rights and
Right.
things that were important in Rhode Island that were pioneered here that impacted the whole country. And he put that into a booklet that he now uses at times to distribute when people are interested in what is some of the biggest contributions of Rhode Island
Right.
to
The nation.
American history.
Exactly.
And this is his thing. He's so good at it, and the man never uses a note. It's
I know.
it's ridiculous.
I know, it's crazy.
It's ridiculous. He just gets up there and, you know, just fills you up with knowledge.
And he's still got it, too. I mean,
Boy, does he ever.
yeah, he's got a memory like no other.
Oh, you don't want to challenge him on anything.
No, exactly.
Dates, numbers, it's amazing. The man is amazing.
And he gets these obscure facts that nobody even knows about, and he turns them into a whole book. You know, like even I think one I read a while back was about an Indian. He talks about an Indian, one of the, I don't know, the Pequot.
One of the indigenous people at the beginning of Rhode Island history.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But he sees something in the newspaper that strikes his interest. He'll look into it a little bit, and all of a sudden it becomes a subject or a topic of discussion, maybe something that he's going to write an essay on for the journal, whatever it might be. But One of our directors emeriti, whom I'm sure you know well, Ken Dooley, Ken and I have a saying that history is like an iceberg. 10% on the surface, 90% beneath the surface. And the more you
Right.
dig into these things,
Right.
the more connections there are. Oh, he's related to, and she was. It's amazing how every subject seems to be an iceberg, that the more you dig, the more you know, the more you find out about a special event, a special person, whatever it might be. It's fun to do the research. That's what I enjoy the most, but Dr. Conley is the expert at it. He really is.
Well, proportion to size, I know this when I worked for the governor's office. Proportion to size, Rhode Island has more historical locations and sites than any other state in the country.
The state is filled with historic places and events that from the very beginning when it received its royal charter, Rhode Island has been on the move in terms of, significant events, significant people, commemorating those people. The Heritage Harbor Foundation does a lot with grants for nonprofits and charitable organizations, where we provide a funding that helps them in their purposes and so forth. The most recent of which is a contribution to a fund that has been set up to erect a statue of George Downing. Now, he's not a gentleman familiar to most people.
Right.
He is an inductee into the Heritage Hall of Fame.
Yep.
And he lived for the better part of the 19th century, died in 1903 in Newport. Mr. Downing started off as an entrepreneur selling oysters in New York City to the hoi polloi, the wealthy to-do, and the society of New York City. Mr. Downing was an African American, so doing so, he got to establish these contacts with his wealthy
Right.
white customers,
Yep.
and his businesses grew and grew and grew. Well, that wasn't good enough for him. He became active as an abolitionist. He was involved with the Underground Railroad. He worked with Stephen Douglas. He was involved with all sorts of personalities and events in the latter part of the century that made him probably the most distinguished and important African American in the entire country.
Wow.
And he started off as a restaurateur with locations in Washington, D.C., and New York City, and Newport. And that's where his workings
niche,
into
that's right.
society came
Right.
from, running a restaurant.
Yep. Well, everybody's got to eat.
Everybody's got to eat, but this guy was extraordinary in all that he accomplished through, food and catering. Who would have thought of catering back in those days,
Right.
during the Civil War and its aftermath?
Yep.
But I guess in Newport, especially in the Gilded Age, catering was a big deal.
Newport was the first.
Catering was a big deal, Bob.
Yeah, Newport was the very first tourist site in the
Yeah,
United States.
yeah. You talk about the playground of the wealthy.
Yep.
But Downing, there's going to be a statue erected of him in Newport because he was such a significant contributor.
Right.
And these are the kinds of people that turn up in these investigations of who's who in Rhode Island and what did they do, and oh my gosh, look at this guy.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little more of a flavorful, interesting thing that people are attracted to. We just would like to reach more of them, and of course, your invitation to me today will help do that, I hope.
Good, good. Now, the Rhode Island Heritage Hall of Fame. What's that all about?
That, within Cleo's trio, is probably, it is the most visible and active part of the grouping. And what it seeks to do, what it is proven to do, since its founding in 1965, we are now 60 years old this year.
Wow.
Since 1965 founding, the Rhode Island Heritage Hall of Fame seeks to locate, research, and herald significant individuals who have a connection to Rhode Island. They don't necessarily have to be born in the state.
Yep.
They may have come here, as did Mr. Downing, coming from New York to Newport.
Right.
They don't have to be from Rhode Island, but they come to Rhode Island, and their accomplishments, their achievements, their significant cultural, social, and historical contributions to the state are done here. We honor those people. We've inducted more than 800 individuals into the Heritage Hall of Fame. Last November, we had a special convocation for recently deceased inductees who, for whatever reason, escaped being inducted during their time while they were living. But we caught up with them in a special induction at the Squantum Club last November.
I know.
It was wonderful.
And I missed that. And I wanted to go to the Squantum Club.
You were on the injured reserve list, weren't you?
I was on the DL.
You and I are now.
I was on the DL. I always wanted to go there. I'd never been to that place.
What a lovely place. And it was a beautiful day. The place was packed. We had such enthusiastic guests. It was wonderful.
Really?
It was wonderful. Yeah, we had former governors, we had star basketball players. You name it, we had a big mix of new inductees. It was a great time.
Well, speaking of interesting people coming up, this Hall of Fame inductee, one of the inductees is a well-known Rhode Islander, right? Olivia Coppola.
Well known, to put it mildly.
Former Miss Rhode Island, former Mrs. America, and former Miss World, right? Miss Universe.
Universe, right.
Miss Universe.
She went from Miss Rhode Island to Miss USA to Miss Universe in 2012. She hit the trifecta. As long as we're working in threes.
Exactly. And I interviewed her when she was Miss Rhode Island.
Did you? Before she hit the Universe title?
Before she hit big time. In fact, my eye doctor opened up, he has a business on Route 6 in Johnston.
Mm-hmm.
Built a brand new building, Dr. Diamante, and she was there at the grand opening because his wife was Mrs. Massachusetts at the time.
Come on, really?
Yeah. And she had been on my show too, so I was invited, of course, there, and she was there, and I met her again at
well,
that.
boy,
at
you
that
have
event.
certainly stepped way down with from beauty queens to having me on. That's wonderful. Yeah, she is. Olivia is.
And she's not coming alone.
No, she's not.
She's coming with my favorite running back in the NFL. She's coming with.
She married Christian McCaffrey of the 49ers a little more than a year ago. And it was a very noteworthy wedding because, two celebrities, and he is a fantastic player. And the word is that he will be here to honor his wife when she's inducted at the banquet. And her family, which is very successful, again, in the restaurant business locally, they will be here to honor her. She's a graduate of Bayview St. Mary's Academy.
East Providence?
Yep, right around the corner.
Right down the street here.
And, she graduated there in 2010, an accomplished musician. I mean, this woman is involved with so many different things in so many extraordinary ways. She's a prime inductee for the Heritage Hall of Fame.
Right.
We're delighted to have her. And then we have some others. There will be 8 others.
Yep.
Unfortunately, one of whom will not be honored at the banquet itself, and that's former Speaker of the General Assembly, Matthew Smith. Speaker Smith is
he's not healthy right now.
He's a little bit under the weather, and Dr. Conley has arranged to have a special induction for him at the nursing home where he's currently residing.
Right.
So that'll be done before the banquet. He will not be at the banquet itself when the inductions take place. So that's 2, Ms. Colpo and Speaker Smith. Then we have a lady named Loren Spears. Do you know that name?
I do.
She is a member of the she's a tribal councilwoman for the Narragansett
Right.
tribe. She is the executive director of the Cotamoquag Indigenous Peoples Museum down in Exeter. She is involved with several different boards, councils, etc. And she was voted one of the extraordinary women in Rhode Island a number of years ago. She's taught at URI. She is an exceptional lady and an advocate for the indigenous persons in Rhode Island.
Right. Now, who else we got?
We have Dr. Joyce Stevos. She's a versatile educator, social reformer, African American and Native American community activist. She's the director of the Heritage. She's a director of the Heritage Harbor Foundation, and she is also a citizen of the Pokanoket Nation. She has a BA and a master's from RIC and a PhD from URI.
Wow.
She's worked for the City of Providence Schools in their social studies department and has done wonderful things for the minority community in that capacity.
Who else you got?
We have James Vincent, social activist, former president of both the Urban
Oh,
League
yeah,
of Rhode Island.
I know
You
James.
know Jim?
He has a show, too, by the way.
He does, and the Providence.
Not as long as me, though.
Well,
I don't
we'll,
think.
We'll
I don't
challenge
think.
him.
I know. I got to challenge him.
We'll
because
challenge him.
I'm not sure. I shouldn't have said that. Maybe he does.
And
He's been
the-
around a long time.
Yep, Providence branch of the NAACP. We have Thomas Whitten, an African American who was a 28-year president and CEO of the John Hope Settlement House in Providence.
Right.
So much so, such a contributor that the city council changed the name of the street where the settlement house is located
Right.
to Thomas Whitten Way.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, 28 years of service to the community and a wonderful gentleman. We also have...
Back in the day, let me stop you there. It's a way he's got, right? Thomas Whitten Way.
Thomas Whitten
Back
Way.
in the day, when I was working in the mayor's office in Pawtucket, I had the guy in the highway department get me a pole and a sign and put Venturini Way on my driveway. And one day I heard some commotion outside, and it was a cop on a three-wheeler, and he's talking to somebody that got in an accident, and they're arguing. He's on the radio, and he's calling it in. He goes, yeah, it's the intersection of Sherman Street and Venturini Way. And the guy goes, no such thing as Venturini Way. He goes, don't tell me there is. I'm right here. I'm right at Venturini Way.
looking at the sign.
I'm looking at the sign. He goes, and they go, there's no such thing on our list of streets. He goes, I am telling you, I am looking at the street right now, and I am upstairs laughing my head
Oh,
off.
that's beautiful. That's
I
what you
took-
get for being a celebrity.
That was long before I was doing my show, actually. That was in the late 80s. Who else?
A couple of other inductees. Stephen Feinberg.
Steve, I know Steve.
He's the executive director of the Rhode Island
Film
Film and
Commission.
Television Office.
And Steve, let me stop you right there. Steve Feinberg was on my show. He had just come back from California. He had just taken the job. He'd only been in the job a month or so when I had him as a guest on my show, which was a long time ago.
Extraordinary gentleman who brings in reams of cash revenues
Right.
to the state by coordinating for TV and filming projects here in the state.
And it's sad that they took away, years ago, they used to have, they gave them a break on
Tax breaks.
Tax break, 25% or something. I can't remember who the governor was that took it away, but at the time I was a little part of that because I was in the movie Meet Joe Blackby, which was filmed in Rhode Island.
Were you really? I didn't know that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't know that was part of your resume.
It was, yes, that movie, and also I was in the movie Civil Action with John Travolta. And you can see me in both movies, by the way.
Your celebrity is
No,
just
no.
too vast here, Bob. Too vast.
But the sad part is why I brought that up was it was because of the 25% tax break they were getting that these movies were filmed, although Civil Action was filmed in Massachusetts. But that movie, Meet Joe Black, was filmed in Warwick, Rhode Island, with over 600 people.
Nobody realizes how much there is to all of this.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
you talk about, George Downing being a caterer in Newport in the
Right.
Gilded Age,
Right.
catering services to feed the film crews and all. Nobody understands just how big these productions are.
When that production came, I went down there I wanted to do film behind the scenes, and as luck would have it, the director spots me and he goes, hey, he says to somebody, is he in this movie? And I said, no, I want him in the movie. He goes, get a suit, get a thing for him, right? Yeah. So they give me a tuxedo, and the next day I called 6 o'clock at night to 6 in the morning. Next day during the day, I called the owners of Greg's Restaurant, who I knew very well.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And I said, look, there's a great opportunity for you. There's over 600 people here. If I bring some samples and some menus, can I stop? He said, go to the Warwick. I'll call. Take anything you want. I go to Warwick, and I was getting big trays, but I had them cut because they were too big. The big brownies and I get the small eclairs, and I'm bringing trays of them up to there with big stacks of menus for everybody. And I got a pinwheel. I said, I want that too, a pinwheel cheesecake. Get this one. I hand all the other stuff out to all the workers there, and the film crew and everybody else and the extras. And while they're doing that, you're not supposed to mingle with the stars. I knocked on Anthony Hopkins' trailer. I'm only there second day.
Come on.
He opens the door in a gown, a robe. And I said, I want to welcome you to Rhode Island. I bring him the pinwheel cheesecake. So he invites me in for tea, and I sat with him for well over a half an hour. And every day after that, he acknowledged me. When he would come down to the set, he'd come downstairs, he'd see me, and he'd come right over to me and always hugged me.
Bob, only you could be friends with Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
Only you.
I never thought of it that way.
Only you.
I only thought, that's good. I never thought of it that way. I was friends with Hannibal Lecter. I never thought of it
Put that on your resume.
There you go. Yeah, he was the best.
Great story.
Yeah.
But I don't think people appreciate how much financial impact Mr. Feinberg has in his position,
multi-millions.
Bringing in these and the competition for filmmaking throughout the country is huge.
Yep.
Huge.
But we got some nice spots in Rhode Island.
Oh, beautiful spots. Beautiful spots.
Who
So
else?
going on a little further with some of our other inductees, I mentioned Speaker Smith won't be present, but we have John Howell, who I describe...
My buddy, John Howell.
Who I describe as the Dean of Rhode Island newspaper publishing.
Yep.
And he is Mr. Community Newspaper.
Yep.
His work with
Cruisin,
the Warwick
Herald,
Warwick Beacon,
the Woonsocket Call,
legendary.
Fall River. He's
legendary.
He's unbelievable. And he was my roommate when we were on our way. We're flying in the C-130 on our way to Tazar, Hungary, to bring toys to kids over there and visit the troops. And we lost an engine in our C-130. We got diverted to the Azores, and John Howell was my roommate in the Azores. Yeah.
Well, John's an old Air Force guy, so you were in good hands.
Yeah, exactly. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm over here slowing you down. I'm telling you to speed up, and I'm slowing you down.
You're not slowing me down too much. I mentioned Mr. Witten. We got Mr. Witten, and let's see. Here's another name that most people will recognize: Maria Gemma Corselli, the Gemma from Gloria Gemma, the individual who sparked the breast cancer awareness here in Rhode Island, and now her daughter Maria has been the executive director of the Gloria Gemma Breast Cancer Research Foundation for since 2004, when it was founded.
Wow.
Her mom, Gloria, passed away from breast cancer in 2002, and it launched special walks, special programs.
All kinds of fundraisers.
Breast cancer awareness, fundraising, counseling, everything that they can do to help women who are afflicted with this terrible cancer. And she has carried on in the tradition her mother would have enjoyed her carrying on. A very distinguished lady. She lives in Bristol, and she'll be part of the induction
Good, sounds
as well.
good. Sounds like a good crew we got.
Yeah, we have a very good crew, and I think that touches on all of them. I got Mr. Vincent. Yeah, that touches on all of them, including the speaker who won't be present.
Right.
The program will open with a presentation of the colors by the Patuxent Rangers, who work closely with the Heritage Hall of Fame on such events. They'll present the colors, and the commanding officer of the Patuxent Rangers is a former director of ours, Colonel Ronald Barnes. Colonel Barnes has been the commanding officer of the Patuxent Rangers for 20 years.
Wow.
And this year will be his 38th year of involvement with the Patuxent Rangers. I kid him. I said, Ron, did you enlist when you were 4 years old
Right,
as a
yeah.
drummer boy?
Yeah.
38 years
Wow.
with this historic militia. So they'll present the colors. I certainly intend at the banquet to acknowledge Ron and his service to the Rangers. Pat Conley, when he was chairman of RI-76 for the bicentennial,
Right.
he was the one who was, special supporter of the Rangers being reconstituted from their original charter dating to 1774. So they're back in business thanks to Pat Conley.
He's done so much for the state.
But I mean,
And
he
for
was the
history.
chairman of RI-76, and this was a perfect opportunity because the Rangers started 2 years
Before,
after the burning
after.
of the Gaspee.
which by the way, is the real cause of the Revolutionary War.
Don't get me started.
Not you burn a ship. I think you're gonna piss off the king more than throwing some tea out of a.
We're
out
not
of a
talking
boat.
about some cheap Halloween prank of the Boston Tea Party.
Right.
We're talking about the real thing.
Right, exactly. And that happened, 8 months earlier? Something like 8 months earlier. Before the Boston Tea Party.
Exactly, it exactly did, and but Massachusetts has managed to seize
Exactly,
the day with
exactly.
publicity, claiming that the revolution started with the
Right.
Boston Tea Party.
Right. Exactly.
Sorry,
Didn't happen.
we know it happened here.
Yeah. Well, Larry, I'm glad you could make it.
Bob, it's a delight, and it's fun to talk about, and I hope that on May the 3rd,
May the
Saturday, May the 3rd, at historic Rhodes on the Patuxent, that folks out there in your viewing audience will join us. There's still time to get tickets. You can go on our website,
Right.
Rhode Island Heritage Hall of Fame.com
Yep.
to do so, and we're promising a big night with a lot of very, very special people who will add on to the inductees in our Heritage Hall of Fame.
I'm looking forward to it.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Larry Reid, Rhode Island Heritage Hall of Fame. We'll be right back. Hey, we're back on An Hour with Bob, and I bring an old friend, a guest. He's been on a couple of times over the years, a few times maybe, and he's been on the radio probably as long as I've been on TV, maybe longer actually, maybe longer. Cruisin' Bruce Palmer. How you doing, Bruce?
Be careful of that phrase, old friend.
Oh, friend.
Friend is okay.
Friend's okay.
Old friend.
How long you been on the radio?
So
Total.
This year, 42 years.
So you've been on longer than I
I'm
have.
sorry to hear that.
42 years.
I started in 1983.
Wow.
Time goes by.
I can't believe that.
Well, I started in my native Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And,
Where in Pennsylvania?
well, I went to a little college you've never heard of. A little place called Penn State University.
Really? In Western Pennsylvania?
No, Penn State's right smack in the middle of the state.
Oh, it is.
So I was on the radio locally because there was a small station on the air, and I was looking for something to do in my time off between classes, and I went into radio in '83. And
Now wait, what town's
never
that
looked
in?
back. It's in the town of State College, Pennsylvania.
St. College.
State College.
Where's Terre Haute?
Where's what?
Not Terre Haute.
Terre Haute's in Indiana.
I know that. Wait. What's the big town there?
It's north of Harrisburg.
Harrisburg, that's what I was thinking of.
The capital of Pennsylvania.
Right.
But I'd been there for a couple of years, and I graduated. and I'm still working in radio, and I started looking in the trades, and I found an opening in radio up here in New England. And I was already married,
Yeah.
young married, so
Yeah.
my wife and I, we gathered our few belongings, loaded them into the car, came to New England. I started working for a small station in Connecticut, and I've been in New England ever since.
Wow. So you've been around too, a lot different stations. You've been a few,
I've worked, I mean, here in New England alone, I've worked everywhere from Providence to Boston to Worcester to
Right.
Hartford to New London. I mean, I've been in all the cities. I do some work with the good folks down in Plymouth. Right now, I'm working afternoons for a station in Milford, Mass.
Oh, that's in Milford?
I'm at WMRC, which is 101.3 FM.
Right, right.
So I do their afternoon show, but I also am now doing the Saturday request show, like the old days, for
Nice.
ON Radio in Woonsocket. Our
Oh.
good friend Dave Richards down in Woonsocket. So,
Wow.
so I do his
What's the
Saturday
call
request
letters there?
show.
What's
That would be WOON, 99.5 FM.
Because
But-
that 99 is a lot of stations.
Yeah, there's a lot of stations packed
from
around
there all the
99.
way to 101.5,
Yeah, it's
right
a lot of traffic. It's like 195 with the bridge half closed.
Yeah.
It can be hard to get through. But I've been working with, I worked for a lot of years in big business corporate radio.
there. Right.
And there's a big part of me that's kind of happy I've gotten away from it, because it's a whole different atmosphere when you work for a truly locally owned, run, and operated station
Right.
that has a number one focus of being on the people in the area, the neighborhood.
Right.
It's not a big business worrying about Wall Street.
Right.
It's a local business worrying about the people who are their neighbors.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And I like that a lot.
Right. You get that even in Worcester, because I used to listen to you sometimes out of Worcester.
Yeah, I was doing mornings in Worcester for quite a stretch as well. But, I've kind of come back home. I'm just working in the smaller towns, kind of like that. And between that and all the other things that I'm doing,
Like what?
Well,
the cars.
we run into each other at car shows
car
all
shows,
the time.
yeah.
I mean, I'm still doing 125-ish car events a year.
Cut it out.
Well, think about it. Every night of the week at a cruise night, and then most weekend days.
Wow.
You add that up, that's, I think last year I did 132 events.
Wow.
So,
all
there's
right. Now,
always-
where? Give us the list. Where
Well,
are they?
this year, my longest running cruise night, my longest running weeknight cruise is with a group called the Rhode Island Chevy Owners Association.
Right.
And this year is the 27th year we've been doing a cruise on Friday nights. We do that in Cumberland in the big Stop and Shop Plaza.
Right, right. On Mendon Road, right?
Exactly.
On Mendon Road.
Like we like to say in Rhode Island, across from where the Ann and Hope used to be.
Exactly. There you go. There you go.
But now that's Friday nights, and that's been a long running event.
All right. Friday night, cruise night. There. What's your favorite Chevrolet?
Oh, that's not fair. That's like asking a parent which is his favorite kid. And I mean, while I like all of the big three, Ford, GM, Mopar,
Right.
I'm probably more of a Ford guy than I am a GM guy. Not that I have anything against them. If I was going to pick a Chevrolet, I don't know, I'd probably be picking myself out a nice mid-60s full-size Chevy.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
If I went mid-size, a mid-60s, I would be going for like a 62 SS.
okay, so you like
convertible.
You like the earlier ones.
Yeah, I think they're pretty. 62 is a great year for General
62
Motors.
was nice. My favorite year for full-size Chevy is probably going to be, because I'm a sucker for fins, my favorite's
all
probably
right.
going to be a 59
57.
with the bat wings.
Oh, you like that one?
No, I
the
like the
59.
wings that went out like that.
Yeah, well, the 57 was the first year of the
57
wing.
is
For
the
all
most,
of them.
that's
All
the
of
most iconic.
All of
without
them.
question.
I had a Buick convertible, was a 57. That had the wing.
A Roadmaster?
The fin. I mean,
what kind of a Buick? A
it's
special?
a convertible, a Roadmaster or whatever.
If it was a Roadmaster, I'm obviously in royalty here.
Really?
Only the classiest people drive Roadmasters. That's top of the line.
I also
for
had a
Buick.
Buick Wildcat too, an old Wildcat. I love those.
Beautiful
Buicks were
cars.
the best riding cars, I think. back
So
in the day.
Friday night is with the Chevy Owners.
Okay.
Every other Thursday night, I host what is now the largest regularly occurring car event on the East Coast, and that is the big cruise night that happens with the Mass Cruisers Car Club, and that takes place in the parking lots at Patriot Place.
Exactly.
And now I'm there every other Thursday night on a nice night in the middle of summer.
Yep.
it's not unheard of to have 2,000 or more classic cars in those lots.
Nice. Yeah,
we
I've
fill
been
it.
to that one before.
It's a huge event.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's every other Thursday right through the end of the season. Wednesday evenings, I do an event down in North Scituate, a little place called Frederickson Farms. It's kind of out in the countryside, right near the state line with Connecticut, at the corner of routes 101 and 102.
You know something? I've actually been to that one.
It's a great place. It's a nice little country
There's a good
getaway.
pizza place right there.
Yeah, that's why have I lost it in my head just that quickly? The pizza place.
It's right at the intersection.
Yes, I know,
right?
and you know I have brain fade at my age, which is Socrates.
Yes.
It finally popped into my head. My apologies to Socrates.
Socrates,
I must say it 1,000 times at the cruise night, and now I can't think of it. But Socrates has a great menu, and then right next door to Socrates is a place called the Groundwater Cafe, which is kind of a farm stand where they make fresh sandwiches and other stuff like that. So you've got your choice. But that's the deal. Most weeknight cruise nights happen at locations where you can get good food because they're around dinner time.
Yep.
So you get in the old car. If you have family you're bringing with you, they load in with you. You go out, you park the car, you have a bite to eat, you chat with people that share your interest, and you have a great time.
And a lot of those places, if they don't have a restaurant, they have a food truck.
Correct. Now,
Or two or four.
on Monday nights, for instance, that's a good example. I do a monthly cruise on the second Monday of every month at a place called DAI Restore in Coventry. It's right off the highway.
Right.
It's the company that restores after you've had a disaster with your home.
Correct.
Now, they're not a food place.
They don't restore cars, they restore homes.
Exactly, and they're not a food place, so they bring in a food truck from Iggy's down in Oakland Beach.
Oh, nice.
So we have the
clam
Iggy's
cakes
truck,
and chowder.
clam cakes and chowder and all that stuff. And then my other weeknight cruise this year, I'm working with Dan's place. This is brand new to my schedule.
And don't tell me, West Greenwich.
Oh, correct, West Greenwich on Route 102. We'll be doing the
I
third
met him
Monday.
with the governor one time. We went down there. Big
Dan-
place, nice
Dan is
place.
a
That place
the
is a
food
nice
is
place.
phenomenal. We did a first-time event there last fall, and with minimal promotion, it exploded. I think we had just out of the blue about 150 cars that just came piling in with little notice that night, and it was obvious that this could be a success.
Well, they got a huge parking lot.
They got a big parking lot, and the food is
back
phenomenal.
in the day, didn't they have bike
They had
race?
bike night. I think they still do some bike stuff.
Not motors, not big Harleys. No, they did the racing.
Oh, you're talking like motorbikes.
Yeah.
That I don't know. That's a little. See, you're a lot older than me. You remember
Hey,
things
watch
that
yourself.
But that's a pretty busy schedule, and then load in all the weekend events. I mean, my first weekend event of the year is already coming up this weekend, although the weather is not looking great at this point.
No.
But I'll be hopping from now right through the end of October, so it's a long season.
Wow.
So you put that together with the two radio stations, and then I'm also involved. I don't know that you know this, but about 4 years ago, I started working as a road rep for a chain of 5 Napa auto parts stores.
No, I didn't know.
So now I'm on the road every day during the earlier part of the day.
So everything's about cars with you.
You know, my life has been cars. From the day I was tall enough to reach the ignition switch, I've always
Really?
loved cars. And it doesn't make sense because my father, rest his soul, great man, didn't know a thing about cars. To Dad, a car was a refrigerator on wheels. It was an appliance that got you there and got you home. But me, I found passion. I think he scratched his head over me a lot during his life, wondering what it was I saw in these inanimate objects.
Right.
But hey, so be it. So things are very much under control, but it's a very, very busy schedule I'm trying to keep under control.
Wow.
And so then my buddy Bob says, hey, how about coming up and joining me on an hour with Bob? And I said, well, maybe I can give you a half an hour.
There you go. So at least I got a half an hour out of you.
You're a closet car guy, I think. You have passion for cars, but
God,
you don't
yeah.
wear it on your sleeve quite like I do.
No, I've been in the cars long before you, probably. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Oh, before you, not long
When
before
are
you.
we going to see you get a classic car and come out on the scene and join us?
I had a lot of classic cars in my younger day. I probably owned a dozen 55 Chevrolets.
Nothing wrong with that.
And I didn't like the 56 as much, but the 57 I like.
Well, the 57 is a very iconic car. There's no two
I
ways
had,
about
well,
that.
57 when they come out, the 283. Because 55
Correct, yeah,
and
very
56
good.
were 265.
265. Now you know your
The
cars.
V8.
I'm
Oh,
impressed.
yes,
yeah.
I do.
55 was their first year for the V8 with that 265.
And you know what I love? When you show somebody, where do you put the gas in?
Oh, and you flip the taillight up, yeah. Well, now my first Chevrolet, I haven't had a lot of Chevys in my life.
No.
But the first classic car that I really spent a lot of time with in this area, I had a blue 54 Chevrolet.
Yep.
Which was the last
Four-door
year.
or two-door?
It was a two-door sedan. It was a
The
210.
Bel Air?
It was a 210, which
Oh,
was the
210
step below the
lower
Bel Air.
model, yes, yes.
I-
It was Biscayne 210.
There was,
and
well,
Bel
no,
Air.
because no, the Biscayne didn't exist yet in 54.
It didn't come in 50?
This,
50.
in,
Oh, right.
in
right.
54, the bottom car would have been the 150. That was
Okay.
the base sedan.
And
That was the one that
six-cylinder?
didn't even come with rubber floor mats. That's how cheap it was. But I had a 210. It was a two-door sedan with the Blue Flame 6, straight 6.235,
Yep.
which was the biggest motor you get. And it had good old 3 in the tree.
Oh, yeah.
Then
Three in the
everyone,
column.
and
they
3 in the
called it,
column,
or
and every
three,
once in a
whatever.
while the linkage would hang up between gears,
Yep.
and you had to get out.
Climb underneath the
And
car.
climb under and line them up again to get the car to work. But hey, you know what? I had that car for quite a number of years.
Really?
But it was such a world of difference when they went to 55 in the cars you had.
Totally
Because the
different.
55,
They became
it was a
longer.
modern car.
Yeah.
It was faster, it handled better,
And it had a V8,
and it had a V8 for the first time.
a little one, 265.
Exactly. Now, you know where my passion is with cars, and has been for a long
Oh,
time.
you like the Ford station? You
I'm
have
a-
that
I'm a
station
station-
wagon.
I'm a
You still
station-
got that station wagon?
I have all my station wagons.
Really?
At the moment, I have.
What's a Chrysler?
I have 3
Or
wagons.
a Plymouth. A Plymouth.
It's a Plymouth, and I have 3 through which I rotate for the events that I host. Now, when you're going out to host an event, you need a lot of storage room. So you're
Right.
packing all the equipment. It helps to have a station wagon.
Station wagon.
But
Or a
like-
beach wagon.
Or,
as-
well, a beach wagon, as we call them. So now I have 3 that I rely on most for my events.
Okay.
And they would be my best, which is the yellow, the bright yellow 59 Plymouth station wagon.
Right.
That's the car you're talking about.
Right.
I've had that car for
And
almost
that
30
had a
years.
fin on it.
That's got a beautiful set of fins.
fin on it, yep.
Now, I also have a 66 Mercury Woodside Comet station wagon,
Oh.
which is a nice car. It's not quite as nice as the 59. So if the forecast is for sunshine, out comes the 59. If there's a slight chance of a shower, I'll bring the 66.
Right, right.
But now I have a third car.
What is?
And that's an 85 Olds Custom Cruiser station wagon. Big mid-80s wagon
Right.
that looks like it's been through a war, and that's okay. I don't mind that.
Now that's probably a V8.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah.
And it's well, they're all V8s.
Yeah, they're all. That's right. they're
But
all-
this one is pretty worn. It's got its rust spots.
the
And
50, the Plymouth, 312.
318.
Oh, I'm sorry, 318. What am I
318,
saying?
yep.
312 is a Ford. 318.
And so if the forecast is calling for tornadoes, I take the Oldsmobile because it's already beat up. And so if the wind picks that up and throws it across the street, I'll be okay. But all of them, I mean, I've had the 59 Plymouth now for 29 years.
Forever. it
I've had
seems.
the 66 Comet station wagon for 23 years. And the Olds is the newbie. I've only had that for about a dozen.
Right, right.
And I'll be impressed if it lasts 20 years, the way the body's going on me. That's okay.
Yep, yep.
But station wagons just make life so much easier when you got a lot of
Oh,
stuff going
yeah.
on.
Well, that's like now is the SUV.
Well, and I know some people who might go out and do an event like that and come in a modern SUV with everything loaded. I get the convenience.
Right.
But
You can't fit as much in an SUV.
and I've been a car guy all my life, and if I'm going to go and spend time with car people, I'm going to bring my old car
Of
too,
course,
because I
absolute,
just feel more
absolutely.
like I belong.
Right,
And
absolutely.
I like being with fellow car guys. Something I've said before, and I think this is really true. Cruise nights, for instance. Now, picture a cruise night. Like I said, you get home from work, you get in the old car, you drive over to the local place where there's cruise night,
Right.
you hang out with people, you have a bite to eat.
You talk about cars.
And to me, 30 or 40 or 50 years ago, when you got home from work, you sat out on the stoop and you talked with your next door neighbors.
Right.
We don't do that anymore.
Exactly.
Now we go to a place where there are going to be a whole bunch more people that share that same passion.
Same.
And you can enjoy
Common-
the evening talking all
Right.
night long.
Correct.
And you can go into a cruise night for the first time, knowing nobody.
Right.
And within 15 minutes, you're fast friends with somebody who happens to be parked next to you.
Correct.
And I think that's something that I miss in general society. But I love the fact that it still exists.
It still exists
in the
because
car.
of the cruise nights.
Because of the cruise nights, because it's a chance for people to get together. And I've been associated with car events for a very long time. This is my 36th year of hosting car events.
Wow.
So I've watched the interest and the hobby just kind of grow and
Yep.
expand around New England, and there's always something great going on.
If-
These days, there's something every night of the week,
Yep.
no matter what.
If I found a real nice 64 GTO convertible,
You like 64 GTOs, don't you?
oh, I had three of them. I had a 64, 66, and 68 at the same time.
At the same time. Now, 64, for those who don't know, is the first year
That's right.
for the GTO.
That was supposed. A lot of people contend that that's the first muscle car.
Well, and it was simply a fancy version of the Pontiac Le Mans. They
Right.
just they
It was
wanted
a Le
to
Mans.
upgrade.
It
It was
was
a
a
Le
Le
Mans
Mans.
with some performance
Le
items.
Mans body and convertible though. Convertible,
There are a lot of Chrysler people that
Right.
will disagree with you on what was the
I
first
know.
muscle car, because so many people will say that it was the Chrysler 300.
No,
Well, it was a performance-based car.
no, it was a performance-based car, and the fastest car on the road in 1962 was a Pontiac 2+2.
Oh, the 2+2, sure, okay, the full-size Grand Prix. But the 300,
No, it wasn't. It was a Catalina. It wasn't a Grand Prix.
well, the Catalina was the base model for Pontiac. Okay,
That's
it must have been a
right. It was a
Catalina with a
Catalina.
really souped-up wheel.
Catalina 2+2. It had the fastest quarter mile of any car that year.
Well, let's not forget that Chrysler introduced the 300 in 1955.
Right.
And it was definitely completely out of the mold of what cars had always
Right.
been, because the 300 really did have a lot of performance as its main focus. So there are people that will be able to, I think, logically make the argument that the
Yep.
300 maybe really was the first muscle car.
Right.
But when muscle cars became more synonymous with pony cars in the 60s, that's when your world of GTOs and Mustangs and Barracudas and
Right.
I mean, you name them.
Judges.
Yeah, yeah. No, we had
Oldsmobile
we had
Judge.
so the Olds was the 442,
Right.
which was the twin, of course, to the Pontiac GTO,
Right,
and then in Chevrolet it was the Chevelle, and Buick had the GS, or memorably at the end of the decade the GSX,
Right, right.
which is one of the fastest Buicks ever built. No, there were a lot of great cars at that period of time, and
Yeah.
I've loved cars all my life. And
Me
it's,
too.
it's too late for me to change passions, so I stick with it. I
I was
feel
always a Pontiac guy and a Chevy guy.
it was a
I used to say
heartbreaker.
Ford. You're a Ford guy.
I
right?
am a Ford guy.
Fix
but
or repair daily. I used to call that.
It stands for first on race day.
Oh, really?
I just thought I'd let you
My
know.
first car, by the way. My first car.
was
19
I know. Don't tell me it was a 1902 Hupmobile.
It was an electric car back in the day. It was a 1956 Ford convertible.
Oh, okay, a Sunliner.
Sunliner convertible.
All
It
right.
was blue and it was the same color as my 64 GTO.
And did it have the Thunderbird 312?
No, it had a 292.
292. Okay.
And
which
you know
was
what?
a little more
And it was an
comfortable.
automatic. You know what I did to it?
Don't tell me you put a 4-speed in it.
No, not that. No.
No.
I'm talking about. I bought that car in '63.
All right.
I did put it was an automatic. It was an automatic 292. I put a 312 with a 3-speed on the
Oh,
floor.
you did. Okay, so you did convert
I
it.
converted it to a standard shift on the floor.
Wait a minute. You bought it in '63?
I think it was 63. Wait a minute, 56 Ford. Yeah.
What are you, about 150 years old?
Yes. Oh, yeah. yeah, just about. No, I wasn't old enough to drive.
But you still,
Oh, I registered the car.
you
my
played
mother's
with
name.
it in the driveway forever, right?
No,
Because you couldn't
no.
drive it yet.
No, I drove it.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Illegally. Good job.
14 years old. I was on the road with it.
Hopefully the Rhode Island State Police right now are taking some notes here.
No, I used to have my friend live down the end of the street. Arnie was his name. He was 16, and he would come down the street. He lived on the same street as me, and we'd jump in the car. He'd be behind the wheel. We get around the corner, and then we switch places. and we go all over the place and go to the Pink Elephant. You probably don't remember.
Sure,
that.
up
You
in
do?
Seekonk.
Jolly Charlie's.
Jolly
One of
Charlie's,
my
yep.
favorite places. I used to hit all those places, and I loved convertibles back in the day. Most of my cars, up until I was probably 45 years old, were convertibles.
Well, you know, I have a convertible as well right now, and I'll admit, I couldn't be with it. I love having that option once in a while.
Exactly,
I've got
especially on a nice night. People drive convertibles with the top down in the middle of the day. I think they're nuts.
You know something? I have gone into, my convertible is a 1970 Torino GT convertible.
Oh,
Okay, with
Ford Torino,
yeah,
huh?
one of my, I have multiple Torinos, but I've had this car for a long time, and I'll go out to a cruise night with the car, and things start to wind down. It's getting a little bit cooler, and I'll go to leave, and I'll still have the top down, and
Right.
I'll invariably have somebody say, "Oh, aren't you going to put the top up?" And I'll just look at it, and I'll say, "If I want the top up, I'll just bring a hard top."
Right.
I have this convertible for the top to be down. I've owned
Correct.
that car for 22 years. I'd be surprised if the top has been up more than 4 times.
Really?
There's no point. And if you're driving a convertible and it starts to rain lightly, if you just go a little faster,
That's right.
the water
It
just
goes right
over
by
your
you.
head. So yeah.
Too bad that for the person sitting in the back seat.
Yeah, well, that's their problem.
That's their problem. I'll tell you, one of my best cars, now that I think about it, one of my favorite cars that would probably be worth the most money today, it's a 1958 Chevy Impala 348 convertible.
Yeah. Oh, a tri-power. Yeah.
Yep.
First year with the dual headlights, and what a beautiful car that was.
And on top of it, I bought the car. A guy brought it from California. It was in a freaking car magazine, a custom car magazine. Guy blew the engine. I was working in a body shop in Central Falls.
And it was a 348
Yes.
with the scalloped heads. All right.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
What do you think I put in it?
Into a 58 Chevy. And when would this have been? In the mid-60s, maybe?
Yeah.
Did you put a Chevy mill in it?
Nope.
You didn't put a Hemi in it.
Nope.
You better not.
I loved Hemis.
That's against the rules.
I love Hemis.
What'd you put in it?
A 389
A Pontiac motor.
GTO, three
A
deuces.
389 Pontiac.
Three deuces, and I put a 4-speed in it too.
And everything lined up okay?
No.
Oh, I wouldn't
No.
think so.
No, I dropped the engine, and I used to do a lot of that. Take motors and switch. I'd buy a wrecked car with a good motor and a good-looking car with a bad motor, and I'd swap
put 'em together.
Swap 'em. Or I'd swap and turn an automatic into a standard
No, wait,
shift.
you go put a Pontiac 389 in a 58 Chevy. What kind of transmission are you hooking it up to?
I hooked it up to a Borg Warner. No, that was a Muncie. That one was a Muncie with a Hearst Competition Plus.
With an adapter kit somewhere, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, what I did was I dropped the motor in the back in the day they actually had chassis.
I remember.
I brought it to East Providence Welding. I said, hook me up. But do something with this.
Well, one thing about today's cars, and you know it, today's cars are all simply plug and play.
Right.
You know, it's modular parts that I like old school.
I do too.
And
Plus,
I
you
was
can
well.
work on them. You can't work on these newer cars. Huh?
Well, you know, I'll tell. Here's a great example. So, my 70 Torino convertible. Now that's just a 302. Got a 4-barrel, but it's not exactly a barn burner. I get that.
Right.
But from the day I got it, it always had a little issue. The nuts that hold down the
Filter?
no. The nuts that hold down the rockers would loosen up and fall off. I'm serious. So you'd be driving along and you start hearing this ticka, 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 and I'd know that one of the nuts had backed off.
Right.
And that the lifter had come loose and the push rod was tapping the inside of the valve cover.
Oh my God.
But I got to know that sound
that was a
well.
Ford?
That was a Ford.
Fix or repair daily.
I got to know the sound, so I'd be driving along, and this is a true story. I would
Wow.
keep a socket set in the car with me. I'd hear that noise.
Yep.
I'd pull over to the side of the road,
Right.
pop the hood. I'd take the valve cover off. I'd get my tools. I'd find the missing nut. I'd put it back on, put everything together, and go on my way. So in other words,
Now, wait, did you-
here I am doing a valve job by the side
Right,
of the road.
right.
You can't do that with a modern car.
No.
No.
No. And by the way, you must have carried an extra gasket with you. Valve cover
No,
gasket.
I kept using the same
You
gasket.
kept using the same
It
one?
leaked a little oil.
A
but
Permatex,
I,
old
I-
Permatex
you know
on
what,
it?
I didn't care. I did keep a couple of spare rocker nuts, and eventually somebody taught me the trick. Said, you know what you got to do? You got to
Lock
double
nut,
nut
lock
them
washer.
all. No, so I double nutted every one.
Right.
To this day, and that was this the same car. That was happening maybe 20 years ago. It's never happened since.
Yeah, well, that makes sense too. The double nut will get.
And if everything is quiet under those valve covers, they're not coming off. I don't need to look. As long as it sounds good, I learned to leave sleeping dogs lie with
There you
cars a
go.
long
There you
time
go.
ago.
I used to take cars. I used to redo the insides. I'd take a car. There was a guy in Centerdale, and he was in a wheelchair, but he would tear apart the inside of a car, roll and pleat the interior, even the dash if you wanted. The 58 Chevy, I had it all roll and pleated, the whole inside. That car was a beautiful car.
One of these days, and I want your audience to hold you to this. One of these days soon, you're going to get another old car and you're going to start coming to my shows.
You're going to talk me into buying. I'm telling you,
Maybe someday we'll do a half hour with Bob live from the car show. Wouldn't that be
from
fun?
a car show. Oh, Bob's Big Adventure. I still do that show.
Think of the good fun we could have with
Yeah.
him. How
yeah.
long you been doing an hour with Bob now?
33 years.
Is it 33
In fact,
years?
my anniversary, start of my 34th year, is next week, 29th of May,
Congratulations.
1992. I started
All
my
right.
show.
Well, I will hit my 42nd anniversary
That's amazing.
on the radio on the 5th of September. So feel free. We'll get together. We'll have a little party.
Right.
We'll celebrate.
There you go.
But anytime you've got a vacant chair here and you want me to stop by, you know, all you got to do is give me a call.
Well, that sounds good.
You know?
That sounds good. Because we can always talk cars, right?
I could.
Or even radio. Do you remember T.J. Knapp?
I sure do, yeah.
T.J. Knapp was a real good friend of mine. I used to go on with him once in a while. In fact, I did a live broadcast. I was in Cancun, and I ran into so many college kids from Rhode Island there,
Okay.
from PC and URI on spring break, right?
All right.
So I called TJ, and I said, guess what I got here? I said, these kids are all over the place, all these college kids. And Fat Tuesdays, Fat Tuesdays
Yeah, of
is
course.
in Cancun, right?
Yeah.
So I set it up with the management there, and Fat Tuesdays in the back. It was a circular. The dance floor was in a circle, and a couple stairs up, and then tables, chairs all around. And they're playing music and DJ and whatever. And I convinced them to let me do a live broadcast from there. So I got 3 chairs, three bar stools, and I'm sitting there on live. We're doing on the phone. I'm doing a live broadcast right here, and I get a girl from PC. Here's so-and-so from PC. Say hi to your friends back home, blah, blah. And here's so-and-so from URI. Guy, girl, whatever. Mixing them up. We did a couple hours there on his radio
How
station.
long ago was this?
Oh, God, forever. I don't know, 80s maybe?
It's funny how the years blend together after a while.
Isn't it the truth? Isn't it the truth?
Sure. I mean, I worked with so many good people in radio over the years. So many good folks in the hobby, in the car hobby. I've just had a chance to cross paths with so many great folks that the last 36 years or so I lived in Rhode Island, there's nothing I regret.
No.
I may not be from this area originally,
Right.
but I've been here so
Long enough.
As far as I'm concerned, it's always going to be my home, and I'm sticking around. That means in about 40 years, when I finally decide to retire,
40 years.
I'll still be watching an hour with Bob on my TV screen.
Probably. I don't know if I'll be around. I know I won't be around in 40 years. Maybe another couple. I might last another couple. We're all done? Is that what you're telling me?
Oh,
How do you like that, Bruce?
he's over here giving you one of these.
Yeah, well, he said wrap it up. I don't know if it's not Christmas time, right? So
Not that I'm aware.
See, look, he's got the wrap. He's got the wrap. So
Come on out and join me this summer. I'd love to see you at a car show. And if you want the details, go to my website. Can I plug it? It's cruisinbruce.com. CRUISIN Bruce.com. Go to that, hit the calendar page. You'll see where I'm going to be. Come on out and say hi. And maybe Bob will be there.
There you go. Oh, I'll be at a few of them, and a few times during the summer. I'm telling you, the food's good, like you said.
Well, thank you for the invite to come out and join you.
And thank you for accepting the
And
invite.
speaking of food, I'm going to go hit the hour with Bob Commissary and see what's waiting.
There you go. Oh, hang on. And folks, thank you for joining us, Cruisin' Bruce and Bob, on an hour with Bob. And Larry earlier. Until next time. See ya.